All right, good afternoon and welcome to News on 6. And I thank you for joining us. We have a fun afternoon here for a while. I have Facebook Live going, and I have a host of folks that are kind of helping us to make sure that I don't push the wrong button. We'll start with that because as you get older, you can push wrong buttons and then everybody just screams and all that. I have with me today one of our newest meteorologists, Megan Gold. Very excited about this moment because this is a big thing. And if you watch News on 6, and you know that we have Alan, who's been with me forever. Stacey's been with me forever. Stephen now getting to the point of forever. And we've had a few things that have happened recently. And one of them, Clint Boone, who was with us, and he suddenly and unexpectedly passed away. And that was a very tragic moment for us because he's such a nice guy. And that happened in the spring, or really late winter time period. And Kendall left us and went to a national weather spot. And so it was kind of an interesting switch that we haven't really had to do very often here at News on 6. But we are so fortunate because you cannot believe, or I cannot believe, that we found quality talent. And one of those is visiting with us today. She was just on the noon show. And Megan, welcome. First of all, I hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Yes, I'm happy to be here. This is so fun.
Well, we're going to have a good afternoon because I want to make sure that we get a lot of questions answered because there's a lot of things going on. First of all, Megan's joining us this week. Aaron Reeves will join us next week. He's the other new meteorologist who he was an intern before, so he's kind of new, kind of old, you could say. But we'll talk to him next week. This week, though, it's all about Megan. And Megan, there's a bunch of things that are going on because I've had a lot of people say, who's that pretty girl that you have on TV right now that does the weather, who's the meteorologist? And so we're going to answer that question today. We're going to find out a little bit more about your life, if you don't mind. And top of mind is we knew you were up for the Miss Oklahoma potential title because what were you, Miss Bricktown?
Miss Brooktown.
Okay, so out of Oklahoma City. And we're going to talk about how you grew up and all that coming up a little bit. But I kind of thought I was going to pay. In fact, we got some money together to pay off some judges to make sure you didn't win. Nothing personal. We just wanted you. And so it was a little selfish, but that's the way it goes. But apparently we didn't pay enough money because you won. And so that's costing us because we don't get to see you all the time. So tell me, first of all, I know that we can go back and kind of talk about your build up to getting to the crown, but just tell me about June just for a minute, because in June you said, hey, I'm going to be really busy here at the end of May and the beginning of June. So just kind of walk us, if you could, just a little bit about your life as it kind of just pertained to the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so my life completely changed when I won Miss Oklahoma. And, when you win, you really have no idea what the next couple of months are going to look like. Things change by the day, new appearance requests come in. So, of course, anytime I can be here, I wanted to be here. So I was actually really lucky to be able to come and work the weekend after I won. I had a few weeks off, which was, just nice to be back because I feel like what do we call me, the ghost that like comes and goes on the weekends.
Yep.
So yeah, I hit the ground running with preparing for Miss America. I went to Miss Texas one of the weekends that I was off, and visiting some of the local nonprofits and just any type of community involvement that Miss Oklahoma typically does, visiting sponsors, thanking everyone that kind of made the pageant happen like it did at the beginning of June, and just lots and lots of preparing for what's to come. So it's been kind of madness, but super fun.
Okay, now take me through because we were following you along. I was on vacation, I think, that week, and so I wasn't able to be here and didn't get to see the finals. But you won the preliminaries, and so tell me a little bit about the preliminaries and all of that, and then I'm gonna ask you another question follow up to that.
Okay, so there, for anyone that doesn't know anything about the Miss Oklahoma and Miss America competitions, there are preliminary competitions held prior to the finals, and that determines who gets to compete on final night. So I did my private interview with the judges, and I felt good about it, but I'm not the type of person that thinks, oh, it's a done deal or whatever. So I kind of put it behind me, focused on preliminary on stage competition, which for the first night was on stage question and evening gown. So I answered my on stage question. I felt good about it, did evening gown, which is really kind of the easiest part. You just walk. And I ended up walking away with the onstage question award and the evening gown award. So I was 2 for 2 that night. It was a big deal. I felt really good about it. But something that I did was I gave the bowl is what we get. We don't get like a trophy. We get a silver bowl is our award for winning. I actually gave that to my group and said, I don't want to take that back with me to my hotel room. I want to put this win behind me and focus on what's to come, which was talent the next night. And talent is kind of always the thing that makes me a little bit nervous. I play the flute. So I play the flute. I walk around on stage as I play, move my eyebrows, try and make it really entertaining. And I won that award. So I won all three preliminary awards, which was just mind blowing. But I still knew I had to go into the final night and still fight really hard for it and show the judges, why I was the one and why I wanted the job. And I felt like I really had the opportunity to show my love for the Miss Oklahoma organization. And I truly felt like in that week that I made 7 new best friends with the judges. That's how well they got to know me and my heart. And I think that's ultimately, what
Uh-huh.
led to me winning. So it was wild to win all 3 preliminary competitions.
Yeah, because when I started hearing that, I went, "Uh-oh, there wasn't enough money." I was like trying to wire money, couldn't do it, didn't have any money because I was on vacation because I've spent all my money. But anyway, yeah. And then what is the I'm going to back up just a minute and take this personal because my daughter was involved in
Mhm,
basically pageants. And so I know a lot of the ins and outs that kind of go with that. And she was
mhm.
local. She was Miss Green Corn Festival, Miss Sapulpa, Miss Southeast Oklahoma. So she had some of those title things and we had to go through a lot of stress to get things. And some people that are outside of the pageant world kind of go, that's nice. It's just a bunch of pretty people and great with pretty dresses and all that. But I there's so much more. And the talent. I mean, how long did you play the flute? Did you? I mean, has this been a lifelong thing, or did you just pick it up a couple of years ago, or how did you do that?
So I've played since I was in 6th grade, and it was actually at my school, you either had to take art or you had to do band, and I can't draw, can't paint, I'm not artistic, so I was like, "I'm gonna do band for a year, get through this class, and then drop it," and I actually fell in love with it and decided I was gonna stick it out, and I was in middle school band, high school band, and then I started studying, professionally with a flute teacher at Oklahoma City University, so I've played for quite some time.
Okay. Now, the question is, what was it like when they actually said your name? I mean, I know everybody goes, oh my God, all that type of stuff. But I mean, did you have a meltdown? Did you you felt good about it probably because you won the preliminaries? I'm going to make an assumption there that you felt good that you were going to be in the top 5 or whatever. But what was that moment like?
So I knew I would be in top 10, but just the type of person that I am, I actually hadn't made the top 5 the year before. So I remember standing there waiting for them to call top 5, and I was like, well, maybe I won't make it, who knows? And I was called third of the top 5. So I was in the middle, which, if you know anything about competitions and pageants, it's always good to be in the middle. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, this is good.
All right.
So we kind of had our final conversation with the judges about why we wanted the job. And I felt like that went really well. So I remember going back to the dressing room, putting back on my evening gown for crowning. Um, and we're standing backstage waiting to go out. And I asked the other contestants if they wanted to say a little prayer, kind of calm ourselves, calm our hearts, our minds. Um, and I'm standing out there and, they call 4th runner up and I'm thinking it's going to be me. And they call 3rd runner up and it's going to be me. And of course it's not, and it's not. And before I know it, I'm standing there with the final
The final
2 and
two.
I'm one of them.
Okay.
And what the MC is saying. So, are they calling the 1st runner up or are they calling the winner? You don't want to think you've won and you didn't win. Um, And I had been given a piece of advice prior to the week of, if you win, do not put your hands on your face and cover your face because then no one can see what's happening. So I just
Yeah.
remember, okay, don't cover your face, don't cover your face.
Yeah.
And it just happened so fast. And I would pay $1,000,000 to relive it because the wave of emotion that kind of went over me was unreal. And I looked out and I saw my parents, and I've been in the organization so long that I'm looking around and I'm seeing these people that have known me since I was 13 years old. So it's just an unbelievable feeling, and kind of this weight lifted off your shoulders of, okay, like I finally did it. And I'm walking down the runway waving, and I look back, and all my fellow contestants, which are like best friends to me, are standing there, and they just rushed me and give me the biggest hug, and it was crazy special.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. And now there's a little curveball, and we're gonna talk about your family in a minute, but I'm gonna bring up your twin brother just for a moment because the first runner up is dating
Mhm.
who?
My twin brother.
Okay, now
Just a little bit of old
yeah,
family twist.
how did this come about? And that had to be a weird moment, wasn't it?
Well, so the really great thing is that her name's Emily Faith, and when I was Miss Tulsa last year, she was Miss Tulsa's outstanding team.
Okay.
So we spent a couple of years together. Our families are super, super close. So I kind of like to think that's how they ended up starting to date, was through me. So I'll take credit for that one. But he had a lot of fun during the week. He walked around saying, "It's a lose lose for me, one of them's gonna lose." And everyone was telling him, "It's a win-win. You've got, uh, 2 girls, 2 horses in the race." And Emily Faith had actually won 2 preliminary awards. So she did unbelievable. She and I are really, really close. So it was really cool to share that moment with her. And she had actually told me before we walked out that, "It's you. You're gonna win." And I was like, "No, like, no,"
Yeah.
Um, so it was just unbelievable. It was really, really special. And I remember holding hands with her saying, "Are you good?" And she said, "Yeah, are you good?" And so we both kind of had this understanding of no matter what happened, we were happy for each other, but still,
Okay.
a little bit awkward from the
Yeah.
opposite.
I was looking for a little bit more drama and a little bit more cat fighting and inner fighting. So I'm not getting that. You guys kind of just kind of a love
I wish
fest
I
there.
was.
So, well, I was figuring that everybody would kind of like to have a little inside information or find that very amusing because when I heard that, I was like, there is no way you have your twin brother and dating the first round. I mean, it's just like that's almost impossible, but it wasn't because it happened. All right, now what I want to do is I want to talk to you. Obviously, we're in meteorology, so that's Miss Oklahoma. Would you start back at the beginning? I think we have a couple of pictures of some of your family as well that we'll be sharing with you. But tell me about where you grew up, where you were born, how you grew up, when did you start liking meteorology?
So I grew up in Edmond. I've lived in Oklahoma my entire life. Um, my dad is from here. My mom was born in Houston, but has lived here pretty much her entire life. And I would say I caught the weather bug pretty early growing up in Oklahoma. I remember my mom coming to my elementary school, picking me up when, the weather was supposed to be bad. And I was actually really, really shy as a little girl. And so the weather frightened me. Something a lot of people don't know is that when it was storming, I would literally let out the biggest scream. Like the minute the crack of thunder happened, bloody murder, bloody murder. I was screaming, so my parents had to come and calm me down. And as I got older, I would always hide under the sheets whenever it would storm. So I was scared of it at first, and then really just fell in love with it. I was fascinated with it, and I always wanted to do it. But I think if it wasn't for the Miss Oklahoma organization and helping me kind of come out of my shell, get those confidence skills and the ability to talk and um, perform, essentially, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So when I was looking at colleges, I kind of went through this phase of, oh, I want to go out of state. I want to break out of the Oklahoma thing. And I remember thinking there is no better place for the weather than OU. So, of course, I had to stay pretty close to home, but got the best degree, the best education. And now I get to work here. So it's really the best of both worlds.
That is pretty awesome. And so now tell me a little bit about on your journey. So you went to OU and to the meteorology school, as you said, and then there's a program there called OU Nightly, right? Can you explain that just a little bit to folks who maybe aren't familiar with what that program is?
Yeah, so OU Nightly is OU student run daily newscast. So we put on a newscast every single day at 4:30, which is an incredible feat, assuming all of these kids are busy going to classes and then they're running over to write their scripts and put on their makeup and get ready to go on camera. And the weather department of OU Nightly is really special. We're all really close. We do open studio to allow the new kids to kind of get in front of the green screen, get advice from older students, which is something that I did. I was terrible when I first started, but having the ability to get in front of the green screen, essentially my sophomore year of college, and I worked camera. We all have to work crew, which I think is really, really important. So before you're allowed to be on camera, you have to work behind the scenes. So you have to understand how the newsroom works, the technology, the time crunch of you have a deadline, you've got to meet it. Your show starts at 4:30, regardless of if you're ready. And we use the exact same technology that we use here at News on Six, the Barron links, to build our graphics. And it really gave me real life forecasting opportunities. So I
Okay.
would be on air once a week, and the program would stream to Facebook Live so people could watch it, and it allows kids to build reels, send those off, get job offers, and really prepare them in a real newsroom type atmosphere.
Okay. And and it is pretty cool. I will admit that. And I'm a as I've learned through the course of time, I love OSU, I love OU, I love TU, I love ORU. And I'll accept Arkansas because I have a couple friends that are that way. So that if they're watching, I have to be very careful. But we're talking about really, I mean, just for OU, it's a great school of meteorology, and so it is where a lot of very good meteorologists have come out of, and so we're very fortunate here in the state of Oklahoma for that. Just in case you didn't know that. Now, I want to know just a couple of things. We won't spend a whole afternoon here, and I know some folks might have some questions. And so, if there are some questions, I will be getting those coming up. So, if you have a question for Megan, please let us know, and then you can type that in, and then I'll be asking her a couple of quick questions. But first of all, Megan, so do you have pets or not?
I do. So I have two dachshunds, and my family made the mistake of getting brother sister dogs. I guess that's like not a good idea, but they literally fought like cats and dogs since they were little. They're 13 years old now, but you would think they're 5 years old. They run around like crazy, but they don't really like each other. And I always do this thing where I try and put them really close to each other, and they like won't make eye contact with each other. So we have Jackson. Jackson is my brother's dog. Jenna is my dog, and Jenna has one eye and she's deaf. So
No.
little bit it's definitely an interesting dynamic.
Oh,
And she is older than Jack, so she kind of beats up on him. But I love them. I really have never been a big dog person until the last couple of years, and now I have this mad obsession with Jenna. She's like my best friend. So
okay. All right. Favorite colors? I see you have a lot of orange on today. It looks like
I
it's orange.
know. I know. You wouldn't think I went to OU. I actually had someone in the newsroom picking on me. Someone said, "That's so ugly." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I kind of like orange." And they were like, "I thought you went to OU." And I was like, "Okay, you're right." So I do
So,
have a red dress in the dressing room, but
yeah.
let's see, I grew up loving pink, but as I've gotten older, I've become kind of like a teal person, a blue person. Really, any jewel tones are kind of my thing.
Okay. See, you go beyond my head. Jewel tones. I have no idea.
Like like
That's
purple and,
okay.
magenta, fuchsia, that type of thing.
All right. Fair enough. And then question: twin brother. What was it like growing up with a twin brother?
Chaos, absolute chaos. But he was a whole lot more outgoing than I was. So that's, I think, kind of why maybe I was more shy. He stole the spotlight a little bit. As we've gotten older, I fought him for it. So now we're both pretty dominant personalities. but he really is my best friend. And as we've gotten older, we've gotten closer, been able to kind of share life experiences, give each other advice. I don't know that he loves my advice all the time, but I try to impart a little bit of wisdom. He plays college football at OBU, Oklahoma
Oh,
Baptist University. So it was really kind of good for us to split up in college. I kind of had always thought we would go to OU together and I would maybe have to babysit him a little bit. So it was good that he had to get away from his second mom
yeah, oh,
and,
yeah.
explore life on.
That's fair enough. That's good. All right. And now, as you go forward, tell me about, because I mean, you've been in pageants for a long time. You mentioned, I forgot to mention as well, you were Miss Tulsa a year, 2 years ago, I guess it'd be now. But so through the course of those time periods, you're going to college, you're having to have the responsibility of being, what were you before Miss Tulsa? Because I know you had to be something before that.
I was Miss Bethany.
Okay. So you're
Mhm.
responsible. What are your responsibilities when you're a Miss Bethany, Miss Tulsa, Miss Bricktown?
So really just the local engagement is really up to you as a local title holder. There's typically events you can take part in, parades, and then working on your social impact initiative, which for me, mine was ending senior hunger. So I did a lot of work with our mobile meal programs, making sure our seniors were fed, had the nutrition that they needed, if they needed the service of home delivered meals, making sure that they could get that and be connected to the resources for that. Um, and then also just preparing for the Miss Oklahoma competition. So as Miss Bricktown, there really weren't too many events that I was able to take part in, but my year was really, really heavily focused on the Miss Oklahoma competition and preparing for that. So
Okay. Now there is I think we do have a picture because you did pull me out of my work and said, you're going with me to Sand Springs, and tell me a little bit about that one.
yeah, well, they loved seeing you.
Uh,
They didn't know who I was really, but they were like, "Travis!" So, it was really, really special to see how, they obviously love seeing their typical volunteer that shows up, but when a local celebrity comes, it just makes them feel so special and it brightens up their day. You're probably the only person that they saw all day, and then they're also getting this hot, fresh, healthy meal delivered to their door. So, for us, it can feel like, let's just go run and deliver some meals, but these people look forward to it all day long. So it was cool to take you along with me and see them so excited to see you.
Well, and I thank you very much because I get to volunteer at different things, but that was very, very special to me. So I really appreciate the platform you have. And what Megan said is so true about, I didn't realize because there are a lot of people that are pretty much closed in, that are shut in, and that is a big part of their day. And so I forget that because we're working. A lot of us just sit there and work and work and work, and you forget about some of those things that are very near and dear. So Megan, congratulations on doing something very special. Now tell me what your plans are going forward, because you still have possibly that platform, but I mean, you're going to have to work with us, you have to work with Miss
Mhm.
Oklahoma. So tell us a little bit about what your life is going to entail coming up here.
So, of course, preparing for Miss America, and the date hasn't been announced yet, but last year it was in December. So, most likely will be December this year. That's a really, really big part of the next couple of months. And then obviously, I'll be here whenever I can be, whenever Miss Oklahoma doesn't pull me away for activities and obligations. I have a couple speaking engagements coming up that I get to be a part of, in community involvement events. But the next couple of months, every day is different. I handle all the Miss Oklahoma social media and the PR that goes with that. So the Miss America OK account, which is the Miss Oklahoma Instagram, has over 26,000 followers. So those
All
followers,
right.
of course, like to hear from me. At least once a day, I try and post something. Other days, I'll post more than once, but that's a really, really big part because, our world has gone virtual and kind of so has the job of Miss Oklahoma. And then, yeah, I'll be here when I can be. So I'll be focusing a lot with the ending senior hunger, but then also, of course, inspiring that love of science with kids. I had the opportunity to go and talk to an elementary school about a month or so ago. And, kids are so excited about the weather. There's so many kids that want to be meteorologists. And I think we have a really cool opportunity to kind of share our love with them of that.
All right. And now just a couple of last closing questions here. And one of those questions is, do you have um, where is Miss America going to be? Where is the competition at? Where is that going to be? Do you know?
So last year it was in Connecticut. It will most likely be there again at the Mohegan Sun. I forgot what city that's in, but yeah, the Mohegan Sun typically is where Miss America is. They've signed a contract with them, so they should be there this year as well.
Okay. All right. And so so you are going to be like what? The month of December is right when you go into your big competition. Is that when you really have to get geared up? Is that it?
Yes. Well, it'll be very similar to Miss Oklahoma prep. So, the 4 or 5 months before, which we're pretty much at that 5-month mark, but I'm pretty ready, after having competed at Miss Oklahoma. The goal is to sustain the skills and then, of course, continue to strengthen them and your branding and how you go from a state title holder to, I'm ready to be Miss America. So really upping all of that. The Miss Oklahoma prep team is unreal in helping their title holder get to Miss America. So every month, get a little bit closer, the prep gets a little bit more intense.
Well, it is so unique because I think you bring such a different quality and a different lifestyle per se than a lot of people are used to, as I say, just because of the pageant world is so different, and combining the two and then getting some folks to really understand what they're going to be doing and getting some new folks to be rooting for you as we start to get closer and closer to the time for the Miss America contest, or pageant. So that is going to be pretty big deal. So I want to make sure everybody can maybe start following you as well, not only here at News on 6, because you'll be in and flowing through. And of course, Megan's here on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and she's with me today, helping me with graphics this afternoon. And so this is our first time we get to actually work together at the same time, because she's been busy or I've been on vacation. And so we're going to see, you just have to watch the 4 o'clock, the station's on vacation. So you have to watch the 4, the 5, the 6, the 9, 10, and see what happens, because it'll be very interesting.
We've never worked together before, so fingers crossed it turns out okay.
Yep, and I'm going to be praying just a little bit on the side too, because I say, hey, let's do this, and you're like, what? And so, or you will be saying that. We'll put it that way. Any final closing thoughts or anything about something I didn't cover that you think is important that you think folks would like to know about you?
I think just that I'm so crazy grateful. I mean, everyone has welcomed me with open arms, and I'm here and then I'm not here, and I'm doing Miss Oklahoma stuff, and then I'm back here working, and everyone has been so kind, so encouraging. When I won, the outpouring of love was ridiculous. And even when I, joined the station back in January, viewers were so kind and encouraging, and I love hearing from everybody, whether it's a Facebook comment or I have had letters written to me, and I mean that means the world. It's not something that I'm used to, having not been in the business long. So I'm really grateful, and it means the world to us.
All right, and I appreciate it so much, Megan. And you're not going to find a more humble Miss Oklahoma any place, and so I appreciate your humble spirit, because she's got a heart of gold, and that's why her last name is probably Gold. So that's why we appreciate you being here with us. And I hope and ask everybody to check it out on Saturday and Sunday mornings, 6 in the morning, whenever you can, because it's kind of been about 50% of the time you're able to be here. So I think, isn't it about averaging about that, Megan?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the only thing that's so again, if you get an opportunity, check that out, and then also watch this afternoon, see what we can do together, if we make the machine blow up or whatever. But again, Megan, thank you so much for your time, and look forward to many years, God willing, to be with you and to be able to enjoy what you're doing, and then for everyone else to follow. And what's the I kind of started that and didn't finish it. What is that they can follow you for the Miss Oklahoma to going to the Miss America contest?
So the Miss Oklahoma Instagram is at Miss America OK.
At Miss
And then
America, okay.
And then also my personal Instagram is Megan, Megan, the letter K, Gold. So they're both kind of linked. So if you can find one, you can find the other.
Okay, and you've got your own Facebook page here with us, and so you'll be. I'm sure you'll be posting. You can post stuff on there as well, hopefully, and you kind of link that so that folks can follow you from here as well. And so again, Megan, thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. As I said, look forward to many, many happy days, and hopefully many, many shows. So that we can enjoy together. And on behalf of everyone else, thank you guys for checking in and watching this. And also just want to give a quick thanks to Michelle Cantrell, Lisa Toombs, Megan Ashwood, Ryan Welton, as they have helped make sure that this was able to get off and going. And this will reside at News on 6, and I'll be mentioning that too on Facebook from time to time, or maybe on TV. So you can go back and reference a few things as well and say, hey, I knew her when she was just Miss Oklahoma. And if you make Miss America, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's going to be a little difficult. I'm going to have, I don't know, I'm gonna have to go to Ellen Crone, Stacia. Who am I going to? Craig, Lori. I'm gonna have to ask for a lot of help on this one to figure out how we're going to keep the judges from voting me in. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, to everyone that watches and watching this, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. It is 90. We're up to 95 degrees, but the humidity level is low. So that's about the only good thing I can say because we got some serious heat to talk about later on today. Have a great afternoon.